On August 5, 2010, at 2 p.m., deep beneath the Atacama Desert in Chile, 33 miners were working in the San Jose copper gold mine when the mountain above them collapsed. A slab of rock, twice the weight of the Empire State Building, sheared off and sealed the tunnel. The sound was like thunder, echoing through the shafts. Dust choked the air. When it settled, the men realized they were trapped 2,300 feet underground, deeper than two Empire State Buildings stacked on top of each other. They gathered in a small refuge chamber, a space the size of a studio apartment, designed to hold 25 people for 48 hours. There were 33 of them, and they had food for 2 days. Above ground, rescue workers arrived and assessed the damage. The main shaft was destroyed. The rock was unstable. The mine had a history of safety violations. Some engineers said drilling down would take months if it was even possible. Others said the men were already dead, crushed, or suffocated. But the families refused to leave. They set up Camp Esperanza, Camp Hope, at the mine entrance and waited. For 17 days there was silence, no contact, no sign of life. And then, on day 17, a drill bit broke through into the refuge. Workers pulled it up. Tied to it was a note, scrawled in red marker, "Estamos bien en el refugio, los 33. We are well in the shelter, the 33. The world erupted. They were alive, all of them. But getting them out would require a rescue operation unlike anything ever attempted. Those first 17 days underground were hell. The miners had no idea if anyone knew they were alive, if rescue was even possible, or if they'd been left to die. They had 2 days' worth of food: cans of tuna, crackers, condensed milk. They rationed it to last: 1 spoonful of tuna, 1 sip of milk, every 48 hours. It was starvation in slow motion. They drank water from rusty industrial tanks, unsure if it was contaminated. The heat was suffocating, 90 degrees, 100% humidity. They stripped to their underwear. The air was thick with dust and diesel fumes from the machinery. Some men broke down, weeping, convinced they'd never see their families again. Others prayed. A few argued, tensions flaring in the cramped space, but their leader, a shift foreman named Luis Urzua, kept them organized. He assigned roles, rationed supplies, enforced discipline. He told them, "We survive together or we die together. No one gets left behind." They took votes on every decision, democratic, even in hell. They marked time by their watches, keeping a schedule, maintaining sanity through routine. And when the drill broke through on day 17, when they heard the sound of metal punching into their refuge, grown men wept with relief. They weren't forgotten. The world was coming for them. But the rescue was staggeringly complex. The miners were trapped behind 2,300 feet of solid rock in a mountain that was still shifting, still collapsing. Engineers proposed drilling 3 separate shafts, racing to see which would reach the men first. The fastest drill, Plan B, would take months. The miners couldn't survive months. They were already malnourished, some developing infections, others showing signs of psychological breakdown. So rescuers drilled a narrow supply shaft, just 6 inches wide, and began sending down food, water, medicine, letters from families. The miners devoured the first meals, empanadas, yogurt, and immediately got sick. Their stomachs had shrunk. Doctors above ground took over, prescribing a careful refeeding regimen. They sent down vitamins, antibiotics, even antidepressants for the men showing signs of despair. A fiber optic camera was lowered so rescuers could see them. The footage was surreal: gaunt, bearded men covered in grime waving at the camera, smiling despite everything. The world watched, transfixed. News networks broadcast 24/7. Vigils were held in dozens of countries. The miners became global symbols of hope, resilience, and survival against impossible odds. Above ground, Camp Esperanza swelled to thousands: families, reporters, engineers, psychologists, even a priest. The drilling continued day and night, massive machines pounding through rock. Plan B reached the refuge on October 9th after 66 days, but the shaft was narrow, just 28 inches wide. Engineers designed a custom capsule, a steel tube barely wide enough for a man, painted in the colors of the Chilean flag. They named it Phoenix. It would be lowered on a cable, 1 man at a time, pulled up through 2,300 feet of rock. If the shaft collapsed during extraction, the man inside would be crushed. If the cable snapped, he'd fall to his death. It was terrifyingly dangerous, but it was the only way. On October 12th, the rescue began. A volunteer rescuer descended first to help organize the miners. Then, one by one, they climbed into the Phoenix capsule. The first miner, Florencio Avalos, was strapped in, the hatch closed, the winch engaged. He began the 20-minute journey to the surface, alone in the dark, the capsule scraping against rock, the cable groaning under the weight. When he emerged, his family collapsed around him, sobbing. The crowd erupted in cheers. 1 down, 32 to go. For 24 hours, the rescue continued. Every extraction was broadcast live. The world held its breath each time a capsule descended, each time it rose. Some miners emerged singing, others kissed the ground. One proposed to his girlfriend on live television. Another, a former professional soccer player, juggled a ball. But beneath the celebration was trauma. These men had spent 69 days underground, in darkness, in fear, not knowing if they'd ever see the sun again. Psychologists warned of PTSD, depression, survivor's guilt. And they were right. In the years after, many struggled divorces, addiction, nightmares. Some never worked again. A few attempted suicide. The fame was overwhelming, the transition brutal. But in that moment, on October 13th, when the last miner, Luis Urzua, the leader who'd kept them alive, emerged from the capsule and saluted the Chilean president, it was pure triumph. All 33 had survived. It was the longest underground entrapment in history and the most successful rescue operation ever executed. Engineers called it a miracle, the miners called it brotherhood, and the world called it hope. The San Jose mine was permanently sealed. A memorial stands at the site listing the names of the 33. Tourists visit, leaving flowers and notes. The Phoenix capsule is in a museum. The miners scattered, some wrote books, some gave speeches, some disappeared into quiet lives, but they remain bonded, brothers forged in darkness. They meet annually on August 5th to remember the day the mountain fell and the 69 days they spent buried alive. "We were dead men," one said, "and then we were reborn." The Chilean mine rescue proved that no one is unreachable, no situation hopeless if enough people refuse to give up. 33 men, trapped half a mile underground, survived because the world decided they were worth saving. And they were brought back one by one through a hole in the earth, into the light. It's the greatest rescue story ever told, and every one of them lived to tell it.